Explanations. Dal verbs, form. Modal verbs are auxiliary verbs, they are used with other main verbs. Modal. Meaning. Verbs are can, could, will, would, may, might, shall, should and must. Note these important rules. Two modal verbs not be put together, not he can will meet you tomorrow. Dash. Modal verbs are followed by the infinitive without to. Not he must to meet you tomorrow. Dash. Modal verbs do not have third person s, not he, see, 0446, wet, you, temifew. Dash. Verbs do not form tenses with ing, ed etc., not I'm sorry I can not meet you yesterday. Dash. Modal verbs use inversion in questions, like the verb be, not do, does. Not do can, you meet me tomorrow. Questions are made by putting the modal in front of the subject. Negatives are made by putting not imply after the modal, often shortened to nt in spoken and informal written English. Can I? I cannot, can't. Could I? I could not, couldn't. Will I? I will not, won't. Would I? I would not, wouldn't. May I may not. Might I? I might not. Shall I? I shall not, shan't. Should I? I should not, shouldn't. Must I? I must not, mustn't.
Modal verbs show the speaker's attitude or feelings about a situation. For example, how probable or necessary something is, or that the speaker is offering or requesting something. The same modal verb can be used in different ways with different meanings, you only know from the situation. To talk about ability we use can and can't, or cannot in formal writing. I can swim. Can you swim? Pronunciation. Can is normally unstressed, but is stressed for emphasis, kwn. Can you speak Chinese? B. No, but I can speak Japanese. We sometimes use be able to instead of can. Be able to forms tenses. Will you be able to help me move my furniture tomorrow? Can and can't are also used for permission. To describe what is allowed or not allowed. Can I leave early, please? I can't come skating tomorrow. Certainty and uncertainty. Study this table of probability and the notes below. 100%. Certainty will. 95% to 100%. Deduction. Must. Can't. 80% expectation should. 30% to 70% uncertainty may, might, could. 0% certainty won't. We use will and won't when we are certain about something in the future. We use must and can't for another type of certainty called deduction. This is when we know something is certain because it is logical, or when we make an assumption because of the facts of the situation. He must be stuck in the traffic. I'm sure he is. It's the only possibility. She can't be in Italy. I saw her today. I'm sure she isn't. It's impossible. We use should when we expect that something will happen. They should arrive here at about 6:30. We use may, might and could for uncertainty. I may not have time to finish tonight. I don't know. President Jones might win the next election. It's possible. I might have some news for you next week. Perhaps I will. He could be stuck in the traffic. Perhaps he is.
Obligation. We use must or have to explain that something is necessary. I must finish my homework before 8 o'clock. I have to phone Jan at 9 o'clock. In writing there is no real difference between must and have to. In speech there is a small difference. We use have to when the situation makes something necessary, for example because of official rules. At our school, we have to wear a uniform. Every player in a football team has to have a number. When the traffic lights are red, you have to stop. In everyday speech, we can use have got to instead of have to. We use must when the speaker personally feels that something is important. You really must stop working so hard and try to relax. You must be here by 8 o'clock, or the bus will leave without you. Note that we do not use to after must. In their negative forms mustn't and don't have to have different meanings. Mustn't describes an action which is prohibited, forbidden. You mustn't cross the road when the red light is showing. Don't have to describes an action which is not necessary, you have a choice. You don't have to turn on the central heating. It's automatic.
Opinions and advice to do. We use should and shouldn't to give an opinion about what is the best thing. When we speak to another person, our opinion becomes advice. I think the police should arrest hooligans. Opinion. I think you should talk to your teacher about it. Advice. Note the other use of should for expectation, mentioned earlier in this unit. We can use ought to and ought not to in the same way as should and shouldn't. Ought to is not as common as should and is a little more formal. I think you ought to talk to your teacher about it. Note that with think in the negative, we use I don't think plus should rather than the negative forms of should and ought to. I don't think you should, ought to go. Had better is used for strong opinions. Had is usually contracted. I think you'd better talk to your teacher about it. We'd better not forget to turn off the computer. See also Grammar 24. Functions.
A. Look at those clouds. I think it might rain. B. This is impossible. It can't be the answer. C. Well done. You must be very pleased. D. I've no idea where Jane is. She could be anywhere. E. I suppose it's possible. I might come to your party. F. I'm not sure. I may not be able to get there in time. G. That can't be David. He hasn't got a bike. H. Lisa isn't here yet. She must be on her way. I. There's someone at the door. It could be the postman. J. Sorry, I can't come out tonight. I have to do my homework. A. It would be a good idea for you to see a dentist. You ought to see a dentist. B. It's not necessary for us to go to school tomorrow. We don't have to go to school tomorrow. C. I'm sure that isn't John, because he's in Paris. That can't be John, because he's in Paris. D. Perhaps Anne is at home. And could be at home. And might be at home. And may be at home. E. You ought to wear a warm coat today. You'd better wear a warm coat today. F. It's possible that I'll be late. I may be late. G. I wouldn't go skiing if I were you. I don't think that you should to go skiing. I don't think that you ought to go skiing. H. It is forbidden to leave your bike here. You can't leave your bike here.